I think there's a host of paranormal entities or cryptozoological mysteries out there that haven't been identified yet.
I have heard but not seen.
Nothing's believable until it's right in front of you believable.
Over 400 years since English adventurers first established permanent settlements here in New England, the history of New England is filled with wonderment, mystery, and haunted locations.
New England needs to be recognized on the map as a major Sasquatch hub. If you think they can exist out there, they can't exist here.
When devil monkeys run loose and woods devils frighten local children, New England never has a shortage of stories of mysterious phenomenon.
You know, it's just a place where a lot of unexplainable things have happened throughout the years.
Yeah. Show me Bigfoot, show me your evidence. Yeah. And let's talk about it.
I'm Mike Tinsley, and for the last year I've embedded myself into the Bigfoot community and the world of cryptozoology.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Where's the body? Where's Bigfoot's body?
First Nations people of the Northwest Pacific call them Saskats. The Chinese call them Yaren. Come with me as we talk to the experts and go down the rabbit hole of the world of cryptozoology.
Let's go find Bigfoot, bitches.
Whether it's a Bigfoot, woods devil, or devil monkey, what I want to know, is there a man-ape among us?
Well, if it's gone, it hasn't gone by us.
Dude, what is that?
I have no idea.
Looked like a little tiny person that ran across the road, didn't it? This thing's been following me along the river. It just crouched down and we're staring at each other. I'm not sure what the hell that is. So I'm not sure if it's a Bigfoot or or a person. Like, I don't know. It's been staying there for like a couple minutes now and we've been staring off at each other. I'm 100% sure that's a Bigfoot.
After Kelly and I spent some time with the witness in Henniker, we realized quickly that things didn't seem to add up, and despite the witness pointing out a Bigfoot to us, we found no evidence of any creature of any kind.
He said this Sasquatch is like a sitting duck. It shouldn't be acting the way that it is, and it shouldn't be out in the open during the day, and he thinks that he can catch it, and he's really trying to push to get out here. And there's been black vans going past that all day long, that area where I go walking, and they're carrying backpacks and they got like a whole bunch of shit, like the whole 9 yards. I didn't follow any of them because I didn't think it was a good idea, but I've been noticing a lot of activity of people going out that way.
Who's this witness? And why is he feeding us all this stuff?
He told me to stay away from the small groups. They're radical, they're all crazy. He told me he's the big wig, to follow him. Every single thing that he said does not sound like it will be good for that Bigfoot group. He told me to deal with Crystal and a guy named Steve. They've been in the field for years, he said. He told me to ignore you guys. I told him I was going through a group, but I didn't tell him who. And he said that he was going to ruin us, ruin you guys. I should stay with him because it's going to make me famous. I don't want any of that. I really don't want to be famous.
During this investigation, Richard Berault, the host of Banner with Richie B podcast in the Bridgewater Triangle, Massachusetts, worked with the witness to gain his trust. Richie helped us make plans with the witness to show back up on Sunday. We're going to come back with the New Hampshire Bigfoot Society and Penford Media to really bite into this story and not to let any other groups in on what it was that we were doing. Later that evening, I got a message from Steve Culls, who I met in Whitehall. He sent his personal cell number and asked me to give him a jingle. It was that moment that I realized it was Steve Culls, the Squatch detective, that the BFRO was dispatching to assist Crystal Panic, the local representative here in New Hampshire. Although I get along great with Steve at the Whitehall Festival just a few months before, I knew listening to his podcast that he was a tough investigator who makes his reputation on busting hoaxes and finding the truth in search of Bigfoot. Steve apologized for getting involved in the New Hampshire case. When he took it, he thought it was in New York, and they were going to check it out anyway.
Let me just give you a little background. Mike and I met at the Whitehall Bigfoot Festival, and him and his crew traveled out there to kind of film interviews and talk to people, and it was just such a good time. Mike is such an inviting guy, and it was like instant getting along with him. All of a sudden, I notice here's this New Hampshire Bigfoot Society, and guess who's kind of like front and center of it right now is Mike. So we said we got to get Mike on the show, and we'll talk. And so welcome, Mike.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. Definitely a pleasure. It's great to meet you, Chris.
Let's talk about a little experience that we both can share a little bit. There are times, and I think that was an eye-opener for you, when you start talking to a witness, and originally their story sounds pretty solid. So they have this video, it's questionable. They have another video, it's questionable. And then you meet them, and you start talking to them, and you realize, wait a minute, what's going on here? All of a sudden, we get to a certain point, and he's afraid of this albino Bigfoot all of a sudden. Well, there's an albino Bigfoot, and he's mean, and he was showing us alleged trail cam pictures. He said that we're 15 foot up in the air, and see that little white splotch? That's the albino. And we were like, well, we're all starting to look at each other very cross-eyed.
Mm-hmm. At one point, it was my cohort across this floodplain on another tree line. I was excited too, to be honest with you. See a biped shadow moving across a tree line when you're looking for Bigfoot, you get excited. But when you realize it's the guy that you've known your whole life, and you can pick him out a million miles away, I'm like, okay, I know who that is. That's Kelly. That's not a Bigfoot.
I think we both had that reaction in different ways.
I think so too. Yeah.
And then comes the great debate. Was that person intentionally doing that, or was the person of the mind and that he was just maybe not, all there? And so it becomes that crucial point where you say to yourself, well, do I out this person because the person's just, it's not no fault of his own, right? It's just the way his mind is working. Right. Or is it, because he is intentionally trying to do that?
The next morning, I woke up and sent a message to our witness. I told him that I personally knew Steve and that he had nothing to worry about. I did remain silent on social media and stopped from texting anybody in the group and waited for the moment to pass so we could do our thing on Sunday. A few days after Kelly and I got the runaround in Henniker, Richie B sent us a photo of the alleged witness with Steve Culls and Crystal Panic of the Bigfoot Field Research Organization, along with Alex Petakov from Small Town Monsters. Richard was upset with me, implying that I handed our witness over to another group behind his back. I didn't agree. He told me that he nor the witness was interested in working with us on Sunday. A few days later, Steve sent me this video. After Richie told us that he wasn't coming up on Sunday, it looks like he did anyway.
Just that one area.
Everything about this made me feel uneasy. Richie definitely felt like I betrayed him, because our conversations became more spiteful and defensive. Our group who eagerly worked so close together was fractured. It felt like all the networking and team building we've done over the last month or so was for nothing. There was this underlying tension that needed to be resolved, but quite frankly, I had no desire at the moment to put the pieces back together. I was losing my faith in the Bigfoot community and wondered why I even allowed myself to get so involved. Hey guys, if you see a squatch in your neighborhood, don't call us. Really? Because to be honest with you, I don't want to know about it. Call anybody but me. Okay? Thank you. Have a good one. After the smoke cleared from Henniker, we decided to meet in Portland, Maine, at the International Cryptozoology Conference hosted by Loren Coleman, the godfather of cryptozoology.
Today, I am headed to Portland, Maine for the International Cryptozoology Conference. Can't wait to meet Adam and Zack up there and get some interviews, talk to people, and just have a bunch of fun. It is Saturday morning, and I've arrived at the venue where the International Cryptozoology Conference is going to be. Just waiting to hook up with the boys, and we'll go in and see what's going on.
The International Cryptozoology Museum is a small museum in Portland, Maine, founded by Loren Coleman. The International Cryptozoology Conference is an important program and fundraiser supporting the nonprofit, scientific, and educational mission of the International Cryptozoology Museum.
Population of Bigfoot, what are we thinking?
So I mean, in order to stay hidden the way that it has, we'd have to have a fairly small population that would probably have to be migratory and somewhat nocturnal or crepuscular.
Mm-hmm.
That's really the only way to make this work. And I think that a small population, it's hard to put numbers on that without really digging into it. Because I mean, if we're talking about right whales, they can survive with an incredibly small population, a dozen of them. It's not too sustainable for the significant future. We'd like to get those numbers up, but the larger mammals can survive with smaller populations. If we're talking about cheetahs, there's a very small population of them in I think it was the hundreds the last time I saw. Hopefully it's in the thousands now.
Yeah.
And then there's other, orangutans. Wild orangutans have incredibly small numbers in the wild. So, we might be talking about hundreds, possibly thousands of individuals, which is scientifically possible.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the physical evidence.
Why would Bigfoot stay hidden? Can we find clues from other wildlife research that explains why low populations are so hard to track down?
My name is Tewksbury. I'm an eastern puma researcher, but I look into the sightings in the state of Maine that people have. They're supposed to be extinct in the state, along with most of the East Coast except for Florida, but their sightings reported daily, really, on a daily basis. So mountain lions are one of my favorite. They're my favorite big cats. But I didn't realize at the time that they were considered to be extirpated from the state. So when I started working at the museum in 2015, Loren had mentioned to me that I need to start looking into the mystery cat sightings because my county of Lincoln County has the highest concentration. And I thought he was talking black panthers, and and he goes, no, mountain lions. And I'm like, there are mountain lions in Maine. No, there's not. They're not here. The state does not. There's mountain lions, so we went back and forth for a while. But I did start looking into it. I started getting some newspaper articles, but the thing that got me where I am now is I had my own sighting, where I almost hit a juvenile mountain lion in Cushing, and it freaked me out because I literally thought I was going to hit this little leopard that was running up the road, and I was able to actually cast the one track it left at the culvert. And yeah,
That's really cool.
and stuff. Everybody does the whole, why doesn't anybody get pictures when they sorry, but you can't grab your camera when you're trying not to hit something, and stuff.
Well, that's the same thing I think with Bigfoot, right? You wouldn't call a catamount a cryptid. Consider it.
I would. I do call the mountain lions cryptids because they are supposed to be extinct in the area. They're not supposed to be here, but they are. But the issue with that is there's a lot of prime area for these animals to thrive, and to think that they're not here and not being elusive. If you're hunted to the point of extinction, are you going to go near what put you in that spot in the first place? They're not stupid animals,
Only the clever ones are going to survive anyway, so.
If ghost cats are known cryptids and stay hidden to avoid extinction, could the same be said for Bigfoot? Now that we found a connection between Bigfoot, cryptids, and actual wildlife, we need to find out if there's any sort of truth to the claim that Bigfoot is paranormal. Does it really come from another dimension? Is it something that only some of us can see?
Bigfoot, that's exactly the debate is it a real wildlife creature that we can see and track in the woods, or is it an interdimensional
paranormal. There's a lot of debate and there's a lot of speculation. There's a lot of animosity too on how the Bigfoot community sees things.
I would be curious to know, is he a spirit to them, or is he a creature or a being, like a physical being? I'm not really sure, but because people disagree about fairies. Are they spirits? Are they physical beings? So I guess the same might apply to Bigfoot. I don't know.
There's people who have a theory that Bigfoot is just blurry. There's a theory called the permittivity of Bigfoot. You know, some people are in the camp that Bigfoot's flesh and blood. Other people consider concurrent UFO sightings and high strangeness, interdimensionality to Bigfoot.
The woo.
I don't know the woo. Yeah, I don't know the answer to it for sure, but you know, there's a lot of different factors that could contribute to why there is not solid video evidence.
Do you find a connection with Bigfoot and paranormal?
Yeah, thank you for asking. So I feel like that Bigfoot's everywhere, and I feel like, how can Bigfoot be everywhere? And my thoughts are, someone coming from the paranormal field, I strongly feel that Bigfoot is a ghost. I feel like that he can go from dimension to dimension and kind of go in and out of a portal, which we have in the paranormal world. And the reason why I'm at this convention is I feel like that the paranormal world and the cryptozoology world has been kind of like separated. It's my passion to kind of bridge us together. Because there's a lot that I know as a paranormal researcher that I feel like that the cryptozoology world could also benefit from, and vice versa. So I would like for maybe to go on a Bigfoot hunt someday, and just to kind of like see if I can apply my skills as a clairvoyant, as someone who deals with the paranormal. What if Bigfoot is a ghost? What if he's able to go from location to location because he's interdimensional?
Is that some sort of psychic or paranormal thing coming across to them where they're open to it and say somebody else isn't?
Absolutely, and you'll find that in the paranormal world as well. So with ghosts, some people will see ghosts, clairvoyants see ghosts, and I think that's the same with Bigfoot as well. I think some people may have had experiences with Bigfoot in the past and may have the ability to see or to sense that Bigfoot's around, and I think it's the same inexplicable gift that certain people have. And I've never seen Bigfoot, or I've actually never even seen a cryptid like a pukwudgie, but I have friends who have, so maybe people are more attuned. I do feel like that it has to do with maybe like if they were Native American, if there was some Native American backstory in their heritage, maybe they have that gift to be able to see spirits that see Bigfoot when other people don't see Bigfoot.
Our goal in Portland was to learn more about the possibility of man-apes and to connect with other groups and researchers to build a network of our own. This network could support us during another investigation. The Maine Bigfoot Foundation is in my neck of the woods, so I reached out to Pete Small and Mike Vashon. They were easy to talk to and showed a lot of interest in helping us out any way they could.
Yeah, I'm Pete Small. I'm with Maine Bigfoot Foundation. I'm vice president of the club.
And then over here,
I'm Michael Vashon. I'm the co-founder of the nonprofit, the Maine Bigfoot Foundation, and we're just seeking species recognition one step at a time and trying to educate people about what's out there. Here I am, I'm training new people to do it, and we started a full nonprofit to document the sightings here in Maine, and we're willing to work with anybody. So
I don't want to say this too loud, but we're also following a case where we're a local small group, and we've had some interference with the BFRO. Have you guys dealt with them at all? Like, we've had some issues with them in the past.
Yeah, we've dealt with them. I try to deal with them kindly, and I talk to, when their investigators come and talk to me, I fill them in on a little information that I have. Because the gentleman who taught me and the gentleman who cast those tracks, which is my uncle, he was in the infancy of the BFRO. He was one of the people that was investigating for the individuals that have the BFRO, and him and the other investigators stepped away after a statement was made to him, and that's all I'm going to say.
So just be wary of dealing with them.
Some of the things that I'm interested in learning about is either the difference or the correlation with like Bigfoot, wood devils, devil monkeys, and some of that stuff that we do is eventually kind of peel back and kind of see what it is. You can't go around New Hampshire and talk about Bigfoot without hearing about woods devils. Historically, woods devils comes from northern New Hampshire in Coos County. Some tell me it's either a guardian spirit of the woods or a demon apparition preying on souls. Some researchers might tell you that a woods devil is kind of like a modern version of Bigfoot, slightly different characteristics, but not uncommon to what people report about Bigfoot encounters. It might just explain how diverse Sasquatch populations can be, not unlike humans whose observable traits and temperament vary from individual to individual. Or possibly the existence of a one-of-a-kind endemic species. A creature unlike no other, a slender man who lurks behind the trees and gives ferocious screams at night.
I mean, I think the like Bigfoot and wood devils, to me, they're kind of a similar thing, the same thing, at least personally. The wood devil stuff I've been really interested in. I've spent a lot of time up in the Berlin area in Coos County, Pittsburgh. I've tried to track down the origins of the wood devil story. Haven't been able to do so successfully, but I was told that there was a book from 1888 that had the history of Coos County. Supposedly was the first one to mention that, but I have not been able to track that down. I can't get a physical copy.
A Maine woman who grew up near northern New Hampshire shared her story of a woods devil from her childhood. One night, while she was supposed to be in bed sleeping, she quietly hid behind the wood stove and overheard the grown-ups in her family discussing a plan to hunt a mischievous wood devil. Before the beast got too close to the house, it had to be taken care of. She goes on to say that it was never spoken of in mixed company and certainly not around children. I asked her if she was willing to be interviewed, but she politely turned down my offer and asked for her privacy. And although she's active in Bigfoot communities, she doesn't trust outsiders from getting too close, and I can't disagree with her.
I've been told stories of people who grew up in that area and said, my family used to have a camp in Pittsburgh, and they would warn us in the 70s, don't go in the woods or the wood devils will get you. And that was kind of like a boogeyman story. A lot of cultures do that with the monsters all over the place. Like, nothing new, right?
Could the story from the little girl in Maine be just that? A cautionary tale, but stay out of the woods so you don't get hurt.
A lot of people think the wood devil's story was kind of invented on the internet, but I've found that it actually predates the internet.
Okay.
To me, a lot of the wood devil descriptions and the sightings just fit the sort of what we think of as Bigfoot in the modern day. And probably one of the most interesting stories I have that kind of relates to the wood devils was I was doing a library talk in Dover, New Hampshire after the talk, and this lady comes up to me and she starts telling me this story. She says it was either her uncle or her dad. He was a prison camp guard at this place called Stark Camp in northern New Hampshire. World War II, there was a POW camp there, right? They had Germans up there. There's actually a famous escape where one of these Germans made it all the way to New York City before he got caught. So that camp was up there, and this lady had said, it was either her dad or uncle. He was a guard up there, and they had put the Germans on logging duty at one point. And the guys had reported they didn't want to go in the woods because they were scared by a gorilla in the woods, which is a very oddly specific description. I guess the local guys said, those are just the wood devils. So they related it to something they knew. How would these German guys, who were obviously not there by their own will, I mean, this is World War II, it's like an American guy being in some random forest in Germany, predicting the local lore about some creature like Krampus or something out there, right? It doesn't make any sense. Like, they wouldn't have had prior knowledge, especially pre-internet era.
If you are at a conference or at a museum and somebody comes in and they say, I saw Bigfoot, you have to make, as a researcher, the decision. Do you want to hear another boring story about Bigfoot? Or are you going to spend some time with this person, asking them, how many psychosis episodes have they had? Were they on drugs? Were they trying to impress a buddy? Were they interested in making money off this? So there's all kinds of things that you've got to put your time into, analyzing the case, analyzing the person. You really have to put yourself in the place of being an investigator on many different levels.
Yeah.
I am very upset with people that are Bigfoot hunters that are so focused on the phenomena that they forget that there's owls there that make sounds, that there's neighborhood cats 2 blocks over that are screeching, that may be more involved in how they're feeling and the fear that comes into their experience. So it's really a deep analysis.
Right.
And we know that there's not that many. As Grover Krantz once said, he thought that there was probably 1 Bigfoot for every 10,000 black bear. So if you start doing the math on that, you know that you're not going to run across Bigfoot that often. We know that the younger ones who are thinner and younger are crossing highways. The older ones and family groups are seen deeper in the wilderness. So that's about all we know. We have some people that remark on the males versus females, but it's speculation. Are we seeing more Bigfoot? No, but we are seeing an increase in Bigfoot hunters, so they're seeing more Bigfoot.
There's a lot of devil monkey stories around. I've heard of the Daneville one. That could just be like an escaped monkey kind of thing, as Loren Coleman would say, the kind of the out-of-place animals category.
Devil monkeys are said to be devilish creatures with long fangs and glowing eyes. They're described as being between 3 and 8 feet long with baboon or dog-like snouts. They can run on all 4s or 2 legs. They have dark brown hairy backs and bushy tails. These ferocious primates have been reported to attack humans and kill livestock and pets. Reports of devil monkeys have long come from all over the eastern United States.
One of the devil monkey legends is from right here in Danville, New Hampshire. A gripping tale starts in late August 2001 when Fire Chief David Kimball saw a baboon-like creature run alongside his truck on Kingston Road.
It's one of those towns that's not on a main road, so it's kept its quiet, classic colonial charm.
Legend has it that after a report of an 8-foot monkey was sighted on Kingston Road by the town's fire chief, rumblings and stories of the elusive beast quickly spread. The locals began to confess witnessing strange events, having bone-chilling encounters, and hearing blood-curdling noises that pierced the night. The hysterical townfolk locked their doors and formed posses to hunt the fearsome critter. Town officials seeking help were on standby at a network TV studio, and just before they were about to go live, the first of 2 planes that morning suddenly crashed into the World Trade Center towers. Since no one was paying attention, the Danville devil monkey escaped to the town forest, where it haunts the woods to this very day.